Good morning, friends. Tracy Moore here, and I am here to talk to you about anxiety disorders. See, I'm a licensed mental health counselor. I am also your admin here in this group, but today I am wearing my therapist hat. You are not going to hear me talk about any products. You're not going to hear me talk about anything related to what I usually talk about. Hi, Peggy. I am wearing my therapist hat, and hey, Joey. I am talking to you this morning about anxiety disorders, okay? We're going to talk about what they are, different types, how you know when you have a problem, and what to do about it, okay? So we are not going to talk about any particular products today. I'm only talking about anxiety disorders, okay? We're going to get into how you can navigate this topic compliantly here at the end, okay? So welcome, everybody. So y'all know me, Tracy Moore. Like I mentioned, I'm a licensed mental health counselor. So before I was married, I went to, just a little background on me, I went to Palm Beach Atlantic University and got a master's first got my undergrad there at Palm Beach Atlantic in West Palm Beach. And then I got my master's in counseling in Orlando, at the Orlando campus of Palm Beach Atlantic. And several of my friends are hanging out in this group with me too that I've reconnected with. So I graduated there in 2008 and immediately got a job at a private practice and worked there until 2013-ish. So a good 5 years worked in private practice for one of my professors at the time. Saw children, lots of women. Primarily I work with women. Worked with women and children, some men, not a lot. It was just not my wheelhouse. And I worked with a lot of families, a lot of couples. That was my thing. I did work a lot with anxiety disorders. And so that is the realm in which I'm coming to you today from, okay? From my experience as a therapist over the years. I stopped private practice in 2013. Our son was born in 2014, and I've been momming it, y'all. But I've kept my license up. I've kept my continuing education up. I have kept all my, studying up, and have moved, different directions. As you grow as a person, as you grow as a clinician, you realize and as we grow and our understanding of mental health, we start to see, hey, there's some stuff over here that could help. There's some stuff over here that could help. And we don't just have this one track mind. But I'm going to talk some about that too, about evidence-based treatments and some long-term tools. So anxiety disorders, all right? Remember also, in all of those things, I am not a physician, all right? So I sure could if I went to medical school, not on my agenda. But I cannot prescribe medication. As a therapist, we couldn't even really talk about it. We could just say and refer and say, you might want to go to a psychiatrist or to your general practitioner and talk to somebody about medication. I couldn't tell someone to get off of their medication. I couldn't even, this was pounded into me by my supervisor, later my boss at the time. It couldn't even tell somebody to go take St. John's wort or some other thing that may help, that is known and studied to help with certain types of issues. I couldn't tell them you might want to try that, because that would be practicing medicine without a license. So when I say I am not going to talk about products, I am not going to talk about products today, okay? Because that would be practicing medicine without a license. If somebody in the comments says something like, I use, whatever for my anxiety, I'm going to say, no, please don't do that, because you are also not a physician, odds are. So here's kind of the new format, all right? I'm gonna do a video like this about once a month about a different topic. So this month, April, is all about anxiety, okay? This week, Monday, today, I'm gonna do education on anxiety as a construct, as a what is it and what do we do about it? You know, like what is the medical and psychological community do about anxiety? So we're gonna use that word, okay? We're not gonna talk about treatment as far as products are concerned. Then next week, we're gonna go, and the weeks following, this is kind of my new system, okay? This is my thing that's been brewing, all right? So we're gonna talk about the issue, which is anxiety. And then after that, we're gonna talk about body, mind, and spirit the next 3 weeks, about what to do with, April is anxiety, what to do with anxiousness. And I'm gonna talk to you about why there's a big difference there and exactly why it's so important to distinguish, okay? But that's kind of the new format. I'm gonna try it out. This month is anxiety. Next month is depression. So we'll see how it goes. My goal is to get a 20-minute live video in here. I'm already like into my minutes, so this one may be a little bit longer because I'm giving you all the rundown. And then you'll want to make sure that you are subscribed to my email list. You can go to my website, oilthatemotion.com/contact, and get there on my email list. If you already signed up, like did the class sign in, if you came to some of my classes before, and you're already on that list, you're good to go, okay? So you'll get links to downloads and PDFs and things. Hey, Terry. Hey, Tammy. And you'll even get some social sharing graphics about anxiety and about other things that you can do. We're just going to have some goodies, okay? So you're going to want to make sure that you are in on that. Also going to have this is my goal, okay? So I have it all written down. We'll see how it goes, right? I'm a fly by the seat of my pants kind of person. My goal is on Friday to have a Facebook Live Q&A. So be looking forward to that. Okay, let's dive into anxiety. So the DSM, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual, is what governs the diagnosis of mental disorders. That is what we use. The DSM-5 is what is current right now. They've updated it and updated and updated. It's like the iPhone. They just keep releasing updates and text revisions. When I was in school, it was the DSM-4 TR text revision, and they've changed some things even in the DSM-5. So what they've done that's a little bit different, although it's not new anymore. This was from 2013, and we're well, into life by then. Right when I stopped private practice, they're like, let's change the DSM and see what happens. So you've got 3 categories that used to be 1. So it used to be we just talked about anxiety disorders, and there was like a bunch under that. All right, they've separated out to be a little bit more specific. So you've got a category of anxiety disorders, you've got a category of obsessive compulsive disorders, and there's a category of trauma and stress related disorders. Okay, so this is why I'm going to be more careful talking about trauma, because it's a diagnostic thing, okay, to diagnose trauma. Hey Heidi, hey Stephanie. So anxiety disorders are what you would, kind of the things that you would be used to thinking about, all right? You've got separation anxiety. So that's a thing that can be seen in children. It can be seen in adults. Obviously, it's when there's a separation and there's anxiety with that, all right? There's selective mutism, which is when they don't talk, okay? There's a whole list of diagnostic criteria. I'm going very briefly over these, okay? There's specific phobia. So if you're afraid of flying, or some other thing, that's a specific phobia. There's also social phobia, which has a whole realm of diagnostic criteria, okay? There's panic disorder. There's agoraphobia, so if you don't want to, you fear of being in places, so you don't leave your home, okay? And then there's generalized anxiety disorder. You're just worried about all the things, okay? Now, looking also at the second category there, so the subcategory of that anxiety is obsessive compulsive disorders. There's a whole bunch related to that. You've got traditional obsessive compulsive disorder, like if you ever watched the show Monk, that's like old school, but you know, where there's checking and things have to be a certain way. But we'll talk about the differences here in a minute. There's body dysmorphic disorder, so people that see some, they visually, like they see only that thing of their body, and they have this what's the word, like it's a distorted, that's the word, was trying to find the word, it's a distorted view of their body. Okay, there's hoarding, which many of you know what that is. It's just keeping all the things. Okay, there's trichotillomania, which is just fun to say. That's the hair pulling thing. And then there's excoriation disorder, which is skin picking. Okay, you'll see people with scabs, not just like regular scabs. It's like it's related to anxiety. All right. Then you've got a category of trauma and stress related disorders. Okay, you've got reactive attachment disorder, which is traditionally a childhood diagnosis, but it can also be diagnosed later in life. You've got disinhibited social engagement disorder. That one's new. You've got post-traumatic stress syndrome, acute stress disorder, and adjustment disorder. So you see why when you say anxiety, it could mean a lot of different things, because anxiety is at the core of all of those diagnoses that I just mentioned. Okay. Now, what's the difference between anxiety that is diagnostic and anxiousness that is a response to a stressor? So hear me, okay? If you don't hear anything else, hear this. Anxiety and fear are normal, common human responses to stressors. It is. It's just a normal human response. Some people experience anhedonia, which is they don't have a sense of pleasure anymore or enjoyment. It's just like bleh, okay? Low mood is another normal response to a stressor. Some people are irritable or angry or aggressive in response to stressors. These are all normal human responses to stressors. Okay, what makes it a disorder and why we're so careful with this company when we talk about anxiety is it impacting your functioning? Okay, so for all of these diagnostic levels, so let's take generalized anxiety disorder, for instance, because there's many people who are like, oh my gosh, I'm just worried about everything all the time. Okay, is it causing a dysfunction in your social, occupational, or other areas, significant areas of functioning? That's the standard. Is your worry about life meaning you can't go places, like agoraphobia? You're stuck in your house all the time, not just sometimes you don't feel like going places. I'm talking all the time, okay? Is it impacting your occupational functioning? You can't hold down a job because you've got all of this happening all the time, okay? If that's the case, then you need help, okay? If it's impacting your functioning, Isabel, in such a way that you cannot have a normal life any longer, okay, then you need help, okay? You are going to need to reach out to somebody. You're going to need to reach out to your primary care physician. You're going to need to reach out to a psychiatrist, perhaps, or a psychologist, or a mental health counselor that's on your insurance plan. Going to need to get help, okay? There are some evidence-based treatments that are great, all right? Cognitive behavioral therapy is the gold standard for treatment of anxiety. What that is you're identifying negative thoughts, emotions, and behaviors, okay? And we're looking at like the triangle. So thoughts influence emotions, influence behaviors. Influence thoughts, influence, so it's this triangle. And so where we try to get in with cognitive behavioral therapy is at the thought portion. So we're going to impact the thoughts, which is going to change the emotions, which is going to change the behaviors. Okay, it's this triangle. So gaining insight and helping someone gain insight into their particular issues is really an important part of cognitive behavioral therapy. Many people are just stuck and they're like, well, I don't see any way out of this, and so I'm just gonna like in a puddle somewhere, and you're just kind of low functioning. All right, you're there, and maybe you are taking care of your family, kind of, and maybe you are looking for help, kind of, but you don't have the motivation to do anything different because you don't really believe that it could ever be different. And I want to tell you that it can be different. Okay. So if you're watching this and you're like, I can't even leave my house, I can't even go to work, I cannot sleep at night, it's impacting my functioning, I'm having panic attacks and it's impacting my functioning, then you have a problem that products are not going to fix alone, okay? They're helpful, but they are not gonna fix it, okay? So you need some gold standard stuff. You need some cognitive behavioral therapy. You perhaps need some pharmacological treatments, some SSRIs, which are selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. It's gonna help your brain function so that, again, function. We're looking at function. We're talking about anxiety disorders. If you are at the place where you cannot function, you need more help and you need to reach out to someone to get it. Okay. So, let's see, motivational interviewing, I talked about that. That's part of what cognitive behavioral therapy does. You sit with somebody and you say, and the therapist is going to help find the things that will motivate you to change. So just throwing some stuff out here. Say you're a mom, all right, and you are like total panic, all right? You have panic attacks, all right? Hi, me too. I have had that. I have been there, okay? And I was at the point where I could not function. Remember I said I stopped doing therapy in 2013? That is why. I was taking my client stuff home with me and I could not function, okay? So I had to stop and I had to get help. And now that I have, and I'm on the other side of that, I can say with assurance, there is hope, okay? There is hope. So find the motivation to do it, and maybe it's something where you just message your friend this video. All right. If they're not in the group, they can't see it, but you message your friend to get in this group and you send them this video and you're just like, this is me. Okay. If that's all you can do, then high 10 to you, because that is something. Okay. I want to give you hope. All right. So you've got cognitive behavioral therapy, which is awesomeness, okay? You've got pharmacological treatment, which some people need. No shame, okay? And you've got some long-term tools that through the process of cognitive behavioral therapy have shown to have efficacy in longitudinal studies. So those are longer than 8 weeks. They're gonna, like with these studies, they followed up with people after like 3 months, 3 years, like it's longitudinal, it's a long study. The things that have been shown to have efficacy long-term are medication, because you're taking it every single day, okay? Now, I am not recommending any particular medication. I'm not telling you any names of any medication. I'm saying if you're at the point where you cannot function, you need to get some help, okay? More help than a Facebook group can give you. God love us, okay? Another thing that's been super helpful in studies long term is meditation and mindfulness, okay? So meditation, very super calming. Like you can Google or YouTube all the meditation things, okay? And mindfulness is a very interesting tool. It's just about being mindful of every single thing. It's super hard for me to do, but it's like, because it involves sitting still. Not so good at that. But it's good to do in the context of cognitive behavioral therapy. So it's one of the tools that we can use. You've got movement and exercise, all right? Now, if you are a person who cannot leave your house, you probably are not going to go take a walk. But could you get up off of the couch and move around a little bit, you know? So there's movement, okay, gives you this benefit. We know that from longitudinal studies that people who move are more able to recover from anxiety long term. And then social support. All right. The function of this Facebook group is not anxiety social support. Okay. I'm sure there is one, although sometimes that just makes, depending on your personality, you're anxious not just about you, but now you're anxious about, Annie and Greta and all the people, like Sally and Susan and Shelly and all the people. So it's not just your problem anymore. You've made other people's problem your problem. So sometimes that's not good. You may want to just connect with one person, okay? One healthy person, all right? It's why when we talk about, I'm sure some people will talk about addiction. It's why in addiction, they're like, go to a meeting, get a sponsor, kind of like that, all right? That's not technically a treatment for anxiety, but it sure is helpful to have that friend that is there with you. Like, you got out of bed, high five, that's awesome. And who really gets you, okay? All right, I hope that this was helpful. That is the down low on anxiety disorders. Like I say, I don't even know how many I just talked about, but there's a lot of them, all right? It may be that you're like, yes, that I do actually have an anxiety disorder, I think. I am impaired in my functioning, all right? You need to get help, all right? I have looked and I wish. I'm licensed in the state of Florida, so I can practice in the state of Florida. If you live in another state, then I cannot take you on as a client. I'm looking and making sure that that's true, but as far as I know from the laws right now, I am licensed to practice in Florida. So there is, I'm working on options to provide services, okay, for you guys, for just general in an online format. So there's online, telemental health is what it's called. So I was looking previously on, there's a platform called Talkspace that I was looking at doing. It was a lot as a practitioner, like they require a lot of you. It's a good format. It's a really good format, and it is not super expensive, okay? So if you are interested in that, that's another it's just Talkspace is what it's called, .com, I'm sure. And they have some great options for short-term help, okay? If you're like, yes, it's interfering with my functioning and I need help like now so I can do some things, then definitely reach out and get help, okay? There's no shame in it. There's no shame in it. And you need it, okay? You need it to function. So I love you all. I hope that this was helpful to you. And if you have not signed up for my email list, definitely do that. Go to my website. And if you want to reach out to me personally, you are welcome to. I will try to get to messages as quickly as I possibly can. Message my regular account, not my LMHC account. Well, you can do either, but Facebook's weird and doesn't always tell me when I have a message. So hope that was helpful. Thank you guys for hanging out with me, and I will talk to you again very soon. Have a great day.